Hey there, Angela Mosley here with Modern Fit Moms. In today's video, I'm going to cover all things about dead bugs for moms with prolapse or diastasis recti. Safe progressions to take you from the very basics all the way up to more athletic advanced movement. I'm going to show you the basics down on the mat with just our body weight. Then we're going to add in things like a Pilates ball and a dumbbell, and then eventually a long resistance band anchored onto something sturdy. This is not a full follow-on workout. I'm simply showing you different variations and different levels of the dead bug variation. I love dead bugs and I use them today even as a more advanced athlete, as a mom who no longer has diastasis recti, and my prolapse symptoms are extremely far and few between. So I want to take you from the basics, letting you learn how to connect with your core, your pelvic floor with movement, and then we'll work our way up to other movements. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I just want to say, make sure you like this video and share with a mama friend, and don't forget to subscribe. I try to post a new video every single Monday at 7 a.m., whether it's a workout, educational, or exercise walkthrough. Okay, so the very first thing that we want to focus on is our breathing and connecting with our core. Now, breathing is this, I don't want to say granular idea, but breathing patterns are going to be different for every single person. So what someone might do might be different from somebody else. What works for me doesn't work for a lot of people, but I'm going to show you a couple different ways so you can better understand it. But first, let's learn how to connect with our core, our lower abs, and then we'll add in the breathing along with our movement. So go ahead, join me down on the mat, unless if you're just watching through and you want to walk through it later. Okay, so the very first position is with our feet down on the mat, and we want to think a nice soft and squishy. We are relaxed, right? We are not tightening up. Everything is nice and relaxed. Now, one thing I want you to think about is pulling your hip bones towards one another. So if you think about pulling the hip bones towards one another, then you should feel a nice firmness as you press your fingers into right around your hip bones, okay? Now, some women like to initiate a pelvic floor contraction with this. If you're newer postpartum, or if you have weakness and your pelvic floor doesn't turn on automatically and you kind of have to cue it, you can cue it for right now, but eventually we'll want your body just to kind of naturally respond, because the pelvic floor will respond. It should activate with movement, but sometimes it's just lagging behind. So what we can start with is simply by connecting our breath. So that nice, soft, gentle inhale, everything relaxes, and then that exhale, you could think about pulling up or picking up a blueberry with your vagina and then activating those lower abdominals. And so what we want to call that is our core brace. So once we have our core brace, our abs are nice and firm, we can hold it, it's stabilizing our pelvis, then we can move into movement. Now, I'm breathing through this, I'm talking through this, but I still have a core brace. The idea of the core brace is so that you're not rocking, you're not getting that hip popping. And so some women will really struggle with that hip popping in the dead bugs. So we really want to make sure that we have that nice core brace to help stabilize the hips. So level one is simply going to be a knee drive. So as you have that core brace, you're going to drive the knee up and drive the knee up. So you're going to alternate knees at the same time. Now, a lot of people would be like, how am I supposed to breathe? I want you to try breathing that works for you. So you can inhale here, relax, exhale, drive the knee, and then reset. Inhale, relax. Especially if you are newly postpartum or you're new to exercise altogether, you may want to take that approach first by really going a lot slower, okay? So once you feel like you've had that down pat and you could drive the knees up, your core stays nice and tight, you're not rocking and shifting in your hips, then we can take it up a notch. Now you could take it up, you can go double leg. So instead of doing just a knee drive, you could think drive, down, down. So up, down, and then you can add in that level. Then right after that, of course, is going to be drive up together and drop down together. So up together and drop down together. Again, notice that I'm breathing through this, but my core is braced. So your breathing pattern is going to be dependent on you and what works in your body. Okay. And then once you feel like you've mastered that, you have that lower abdominal core control, because I find that's what is the hardest, is that lower core control. Then we can start adding in other limbs. So once you're able to go up, and down, or, double leg up and double leg down, then it might be time for us to add in those limbs. So we're going to go back to the 1-on-1. So you can think, you're going to reach your arms up pinkies towards the sky, okay? And you can drop one limb at a time and drop the other limb. So you're going to do one limb at a time. And again, once you feel like you've mastered that, and you're like, okay, Ange, I got this. What's the next progression? Then you're going to drop down and drop down, okay? So then you're going to go right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg, okay? After that, then we're going to kick the legs all the way out. So I'm going to drive my left leg out as I drive my right arm out, bring it back in, and then same thing, okay? Another progression to this is by having the legs all the way up, okay? So you can play around with it and drop. So like a Frankenstein, reach those fingertips tall, toes, heels towards the ceiling, drop down and drop down, all right? So your last progression for your body weight only is you can drive, not even the last, second to last, you could drive the same limbs, same side limbs down at the same time. So my right arm, right leg, drive in, left arm, left leg, drive in. Okay, so you're not getting as much cross body connection there, but that's okay. It's just another variation that you can try. And then of course you can drive all the way down and all the way up. So all the limbs go down, all the limbs come up, okay? So those are your various progressions with just your body weight. Now, I want you to master most of those. So typically, I would have somebody master the leg, opposite arm and opposite leg out before we add any equipment, all right? So that's the position that I would have you master before we add in equipment, because when we add in equipment, it takes it up a notch quite a bit. So make sure that you can get yourself to that full range, full extension before adding any equipment to make sure that you have that core stability. So next, I'm going to grab a Pilates ball and a dumbbell. I'm going to grab 2 dumbbells and a Pilates ball. Okay, so with either of these exercises, you can do a bent knee as well instead of a full extension. So if you feel like I'm ready for something to level up, but I'm not ready entirely to do the full extension, that's okay. You can add in this variation. So the very first variation is just a Pilates ball press. Now this can be really good for your breathing. So what I had shared earlier is that breathing is dependent on each person. So a lot of people like to inhale here, and then as they drive the limbs out, they like to exhale and continue with that exhale as they come in. For me personally, I like to inhale as I drive out and then exhale as I come in. That's just what works for me. But I have good core control, so I'm able to do it. But for most people, they like to inhale at the top before they move and then exhale, drive out, and continue with that exhale as you come in. If you have a nice solid inhale, you should be able to exhale fully from that movement pattern, okay? So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna place the ball or even a pillow on the opposite knee. So I've got my right hand to my left knee. I'm gonna reach my left hand all the way up, and I'm gonna drive my right leg and my left arm out. And then as I come back in, I'm gonna press this ball into my knee, okay? So I reach out nice and long, core is braced, and then I drive in and I press really hard. Think about using your breath to allow all of the breath to come all the way out of your mouth as you press that knee, or as you press the ball into your knee. You can also simply use your knee. You don't need the ball or a pillow. You can simply just touch your hand to the knee, create that pressure, create that tension in your core. This is gonna fire up the core a smidge more to really help you feel that connection with your core. All right. Then after that, we can grab a weight. So we can make this a level up where we're driving out. So it's going to be a level up for your upper body, and then drive back in. And same thing, as you drive in, you're going to press that ball into the knee, or press the hand into the ball. So same thing, reach back and then drive in. So that's going to add a new level of intensity for the dead bug. All right. Then once you're ready, you're going to add in double weights. So I reach back. I'm using 2 12s. I think I have been able to do this before with 2 15s. So same thing. You can always just tap down instead of having that full extension. Reach out and back in. So that would be your other variation to make it a little bit more challenging with the weight. Of course, another variation you can try as well is holding the weight up above you. So at an angle, and then you're gonna reach your shoulders up off the mat, and then you can tap out and tap out. So that's just another variation. This is really gonna help, especially if you have a flaring of the rib cage towards the front, because you're really having to push the rib cage back. So especially if someone has a flare to the front of the rib cage, this would be a good option for you to use, okay? So you're just gonna tap down and tap down. And then of course, if you can tap all the way down and up, that's really hard for me. You can do that as well as another progression to make it a little bit more challenging. So as you can see, there's a lot of different progressions and variations that you can do for your dead bug. And so I do have prolapse. I had a stage 2 cystocele. It went to a stage 1. Last time I checked, I had a stage 2 rectocele. I don't know what they are right now. Like I said, my symptoms are few and far between, but I've been able to train my core so that doing these progressions is not, it's not hurting it. So it's not the exercise that you do, it's how you do it that matters, how you're managing pressure. So just be very mindful of that and work your way up. If you have an increase in symptoms with an exercise, that's just a sign that your body just wasn't ready for it yet. And that's okay. You don't need to worry about getting up to speed just because somebody else is. Do it at your own pace and what works in your body, and continue to hack away at it or hash away at it to continue to build that strength. All right, so our next variation, we're going to use a loop band, a long resistance band. I'm going to show you two options, two movement patterns that I love with the monster band. Okay, so I have my long monster band. I got mine from Hope Fitness. What you're gonna do is you're gonna hook it onto something sturdy that's not going to fly back at you. So this could mean a piece of a cardio equipment. It could be a squat rack. I also have a heavy dumbbell here. You can also use a door, but you wanna make sure that it locks where you are so that someone doesn't open it and it doesn't fling out back at you. So just find a spot. You can also use a stair banister to make sure that it's nice and sturdy on your device, whatever it is that you're using. So I'm just going to loop it on through. I'm going to show you a couple different dead bug variations with the band. So the first ones are going to be anchored onto my wall, and then I'm going to use my dumbbells so you can see it laterally and how I'm doing it that way. All right, so go ahead, come down onto your mat. And the very first exercise variation is I'm just going to pull on that resistance band. So I'm going to pull, it's going to create tension up top. And same thing with the angled weight or that angled dumbbell is that we have to use our upper abs to push back the rib cage and to push the rib cage, especially for those of you that might have a rib flare to the front. Okay, so you're going to pull on that resistance. You can hold here and literally hold. You can hold here and hold. Really is preferential where you feel the most activation. Okay, once you have that position, then we're going to go into our dead bug variations, whether you're tapping and tapping or you're driving that leg out and out, or like we said before, drive all the way out and all the way in. You could do bent knee all the way out and in, or you could do a straight leg down and up. Okay, so play around with it to see what feels best in your body and test it out. All right, then after that, we're going to do our arms. So I'm going to reach my top hand up and I'm just going to keep it here, okay? I'm going to drive my right leg out and my left arm out. And then as I pull, I'm going to try and pull that band down without letting this side to crunch, right? I'm staying long through my torso, but I'm creating resistance on this side, all right? So again, I drive out, bent knee or toe tap, and then I come in and I pull down just on that side, okay? So those are gonna be your options for the resistance band. Again, either you're holding up here, driving those legs out and out, or you're gonna hold and do the arm and the arm and the leg and then pull down, all right? So play around with it. I love adding them in and just playing around with the different variations for my training. Then the final one of my favorites, but also one of the hardest for me personally, is a lateral dead bug pull. So again, I have this on a 40-pound dumbbell. I want to make sure that whatever dumbbell I'm using, it's not going to fly back at me. You're not going to be too strong to pull it, all right? Another thing I want you to think about is typically I would have this raised up a little bit on like my step just to give it so that it's a little bit more at the height of my hands, if that makes sense. All right. So I'm going to try to bring both my hands straight up. And what's going to happen is it's going to pull me, right? So the resistance of the band is going to pull me towards the dumbbell. And so we're going to have to work against that, which is really, really hard. That's why I love this exercise. All right. So you want to think this opposite hip needs to press gently into the floor or engage those glutes. So think about pulling that femur back towards that back socket, because that will help you to stay a little bit more grounded, especially when you feel like the band is pulling you on that side. All right, so you're going to do whatever dead bug variation works with your legs, and you're going to drive out or tap or do double leg. Now, this is really hard because, like I said, my left hip wants to let the resistance from the right side pull me up. So this is a very challenging dead bug variation. I absolutely love it. I am doing it and working through it right now, and I continue to get stronger and stronger. So as with any of these dead bug variations, you're going to start with the basics. Make sure you can master the basics. Then you can start adding in the various pieces of equipment to make it a little bit more challenging. Now, there are probably not millions, but plenty of other dead bug variations. These are just ones that I personally love and use regularly with myself and with my clients and inside my memberships. If you're looking for a progression program, whether it's a core program or a lifting program for moms with prolapse, leaking, and diastasis recti, make sure to check out the core lift program inside the Fit Mom membership. That'll give you a step-by-step 12-week total body transformation program for moms with prolapse and leaking and DR. There's also the core library of exercises like the ones I showed you today, full follow along. All you have to do is hit play and follow right along with me. Otherwise, make sure to like this video, share it with a mama friend, and subscribe to my channel. And make sure to tune in every Monday at 7 a.m. for the next video, and I'll see you next time.